Hi, you're watching Tom O'Connor from Inside Leap, and today we're going to talk about graduate recruitment. Specifically, I'm going to give you some tips and techniques that will help you in the interview in order to secure employment as a graduate. Now, let's just deal with the facts from a graduate perspective. As you're well aware, the graduate recruitment marketplace is immensely competitive. Typically, for example, in the United Kingdom alone, you'll have 270,000 graduates who will graduate in any given year, of which there are only 90,000 graduate-based jobs. This was in the years before the recession, such as last year. And within that, you'll have 10,000 jobs that are actually in the financial services sector, which previously was one of the largest areas that graduates would apply for and had the most intense competition, simply being because the pay and benefits was significantly better typically than alternative career options as a graduate. So what can you do today if you're in the marketplace and you're trying to secure a job as a graduate? Well, first and foremost, a couple of key things to get clear in your mind is, as a graduate, although you've had years in university experience and you may have a very good degree behind you, academic expertise in terms of having a 1H degree is not the prerequisite as to whether or not you get a job. In the current environment, and even before now, for a long time, employers have had an issue not with the academic skills of students coming out of university, but actually the main issue has been around interpersonal and basically what we call soft skills. So if you're a graduate and you don't have good interpersonal skills, communication skills, commercial awareness, for example, leadership skills, good time management skills, the ability to be able to deliver on an activity or a task, these are all key skills that employers today are looking for. And unfortunately, they're not finding in the marketplace. So what that means is that if you're a graduate, the first thing is to actually get clear, what are the core skills that you can bring to an organization? It doesn't matter that you haven't been in industry before per se, although it does help obviously if you have industry experience. But what you need to be clear on is, what do you bring to the table, because otherwise you can't differentiate yourself from any other candidate. Ultimately, securing a job in an employer comes down to one thing and one thing only: the perception that you are the best candidate. I'll give you an idea. As a graduate, if you're going for a large multinational company, then they can get anywhere between 30 to 100 applicants per graduate position. That means that you've got to be able to stand out from at least 100 other potential candidates. Now, this doesn't apply across the board, but in the current market, you can be guaranteed that you're going to have a lot more candidates applying for a lot less jobs. 2. After you get clear on what it is that you can offer and what your value proposition is, and that basically means what are the core skill sets and experience that you bring to the table, and the interpersonal skills which I've mentioned before that you bring. Once you've identified what all those are, identify what is it that the employer is looking for. How you can do this is by researching the website, figuring out what is it that they're looking for, and getting really, really clear. Think of it from a dating point of view. If a guy and a girl, for example, are coming together, and I've got, let's say I've got 2 guys and 1 girl, and this girl particularly likes, the kind of guy who's quite quiet, who's considerate, who's nice, who's not loud, who's not obnoxious, etc. And I've got 2 guys. One guy is quiet, he's considerate, he's warm, he's friendly, he might be quite studious, etc. The second graduate is the kind of graduate who is loud, he's obnoxious, but he's a lot of fun. If you were that girl, in her shoes, based with that criteria, who do you think she would pick? Of course, she'd pick the first candidate, the first guy. Why? Because he matches the kind of values and things that she's looking for. Yet, if we had another girl here and she happened to like guys who were a lot of fun, who were a bit of the bad boy thing going on, etc., she would most certainly pick the second guy any day over the first guy. It's much the same when it comes to graduate recruitment, because employers have their specific criteria, stuff that they're looking for. So the better understanding you have of what an employer is looking for, the easier it will be to ensure that when you're in the interview, you talk directly to those values. And what you should also have is a clear understanding of the value that you bring in terms of what you can offer, your interpersonal skills. When you marry what the employer is looking for with what you've got to offer, where there's a firm connection, like I'm demonstrating here, so to speak, then you're in a great position to be able to have the best opportunity of securing a graduate position. Thirdly, as a graduate, if you've gone to interview and you haven't succeeded, a couple of key things to be aware of. 1, you're being evaluated immediately, from the moment you step in the door to the very last moment you leave, assume that everybody you meet is actually going to be evaluating you. And that includes everybody from your one-on-one interview situation rooms to your social settings where you're actually meeting with past candidates, past, should I say, graduates of the company, even in those supposedly open social situations where you're just having dinner with somebody. That is also an evaluation situation. So don't make any mistakes of talking badly about the other candidates. Don't be asking what's the pay like. You know, don't be kind of looking at, well, how many hours do they work here? Do they give the freedom that I want? Me mentality, basically. An employer is not interested in somebody who's only interested in what they can suck out of a company. If you've got that mentality, you're going to get spotted early on and you're going to get basically booted from the recruitment process. You've got to come into an interview with being sincerely and keenly interested in what you can offer an employer and wanting a role. That basically means basics. You've done your research, you know who the company is, you know what they're about. You don't have to have a lot of understanding necessarily of the industry or the sector, but you should have a competency, a basic knowledge base to be able to answer a question about what is it that we do, what is our industry, who are our main competitors, how do we make money. Questions like these, if you do this basic research, will put you in great stead when it comes to interviews, because most candidates unfortunately make the mistake of coming in only being interested in what they want. Typically is what a lot of graduates come in to do. Secondly is they don't do any research, and thirdly is that they assume because they're meeting, say, a former graduate or somebody in a similar age bracket who's working with the company, that they can ask whatever questions they want, not realizing that they are being evaluated, and in most cases that will be fed back. So I hope you found this useful. If you have specific questions about graduate recruitment, if you leave a comment on YouTube, I will try and record some other videos for you. I know there's a lot. Candidates who've been through our courses, we specialise in helping candidates get jobs with graduate employers both in the UK, US and Ireland. So we know what we're talking about. Most importantly though, regardless of what anything I can share is, ultimately it comes down to what you need to know. So if you leave us a comment or request, then we will try and get the opportunity to record some more videos. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this video.